Anyone familiar with course 1 to 3, 1 through 4? Have you done that in your classrooms? So the idea of the computer science fundamentals is to get you to understand how that works, because this is the program that is appropriate for the elementary school students. And we call it Computer Science Fundamentals because we put the fun in computer science. So hopefully today you will have a lot of fun. You've had prior experience with actually coding, not necessarily the language or the scripts or writing programs, but understanding the idea of coding from the concrete perspective. And that's what we want the kids to be able to do. So today, I will walk you through all 4 courses so that you will see where your kids will have to begin in August. And the idea is at a certain time, at a certain point, from pre-K through 12, every grade level will have a corresponding curriculum for computer science, so that when they get to high school, everyone is actually prepared to learn about computer science in advanced placement classes. And then in college, they can actually apply for computer science bachelor's degree, and even to go beyond that. So now, a little bit about myself. I have worked with Codeorg for 2.5 years now. I started when I was in the classroom. I used to work for Los Angeles Unified School District in LA as a resource teacher. And I've done that for about 9 years. And after that, I became a technology coordinator, special ed coordinator, different types of coordinatorship. But really, my passion was integrating technology in instruction. 2.5 years ago, while I was teaching gifted and talented students, Codeorg was one of the things that we were able to implement in our school. My school at that time was in South LA, a low-performing school with students mostly homeless and Title I students. But in school, we were one of the chosen pilot schools for the iPad project. You probably have heard of that here. But basically, that was like the goal of the school district at the time, is to equip all 600,000 students in LA Unified with each an iPad. And my school was chosen as one of the pilot schools, and mostly because we piloted Codeorg and other materials that involved technology at the time. And that's kind of became the reason why I got this work with Codeorg. Normally, I do this on Saturdays. I drive all over the place from San Diego to Bakersfield to Fresno and Vegas on Saturdays or Friday night. And this is the first summer workshop that I've actually facilitated. So thank you for making this happen. And I promise, yes?
During the week, you're a teacher? And then
yes.
Saturdays?
During the week, I work with the Partnership for LA Schools as a manager of teacher development for blended learning.
So
that's a long run.
At the LA County Superintendent?
Yes. So what I do was to go to different schools in Watts, Boyle Heights, and South LA, and I work directly with teachers, coaching and PD, and observing and actually demonstrating how to use an iPad or a Chromebook in teaching ELA or math. So basically more like teacher development, but the idea is I'm not just doing work that is like office or administrator, but I'm actually there to co-teach and to show, to demonstrate things like that. So that's my work during the week, and then Saturday is just mainly Codeorg. So since I'm on summer break, within the next 3 weeks, I will actually have about 16 workshops across Southern and Central California, 3 days here in Bakersfield, and the next I'll be in Chino Valley or somewhere south. So thank you for inviting me here. Now, I invited you to go to todaysmeet.com, right? Let's see who are our gifted students who were able to introduce themselves in terms of who they are, what they do, and what is it that they wish to accomplish today. So I invite you to go back to todaysmeet.com, and it looks like this. If you have not done so, I will give you a few minutes. So we have a few who have started. I'm not going to ask you all to read this, but just because this is in front of you, this is what we would like for you to do, is now you have access to information. I will give you some time to look at the responses. If you have not posted your introduction, please say something. And this is one way to kind of network with each other. I know you're mostly from the same school district or schools, or no. So even better, because today you will have a chance to get to know each other, work in different groups, small groups, pair programming, and different ways. So type in some things. Would 3 minutes be okay for you to come up with a 140 character summary of yourself? So I want to lower your affective filters now. If technology has always been something that scared you in the past, well, today when you get out of this door or that door, whichever door, you're going to be very empowered, because this is going to be something that you will understand that we need not just to teach our kids this, but also for us to thrive and evolve in a changing environment. So we have some responses now. I would like to get each table group to now talk amongst each other. We just did an online introduction by typing in your responses. Now let's wake up and do an offline, face-to-face conversation. So I'll give you 3 more minutes or more, or 5, 6 minutes, 1 minute per person to introduce yourselves to the person next to you or across from you. So go ahead and get to know each other in your table groups. When I ask you to click this part, todaysmeet.com, you are taken to this. And it shows me who is actually there. So you will have your teacher view the same way that you're seeing right now. I'm showing you. If you've already created your student accounts, then this is easy for you. But the idea is this is the workshop today, South Kern, and we have 23 of you officially signed in. So thank you for those who clicked that correctly. If you do not see your name, as I will open this in a few minutes, make sure to get a Post-it and tag your laptops. So let's see who are these students. I'm not going to call your name out loud, but just take a look at who's here. So that's the first, probably like first 15. I'm going to scroll down in a few minutes. So take a look. If you're not there, I will help you make sure join that. Ready to move up, move down? Okay. Okay, if you don't see your name, don't worry. All you need to do, get a Post-it. I'll make sure you will join that, okay? The reason for that is because this is how Codeorg knows that you actually attended the in-person workshop. There is a workshop online that you can do on your own. You are free to do that, but you are not getting the resources that you're getting today, the bags, the curriculum guides, and whatever modeling and collaborating we're doing today. So that's why it is important that you click that, because also after today, you have the option to request free supplies to teach courses from lessons from courses 1 or 2. And I'll get to that once we get to the part where I will show you the kinds of materials that they'll deliver to you for free. Okay, but you need to get on here first before you get to do that. Yes. Did you see your name?
I see my name.
Then you're fine. Anyone who did not see their name, get a Post-it and I'll help you in a few minutes, okay? Now, you see that some of your co-teachers or peers have already done some of this work, right? I'm going to take a screenshot of this because whoever will reach the highest level by lunchtime will have a prize, a non-tangible reward. So, so this is going to be a race to the top, but we are going to honor those work that everyone has already done. So I'm just going to screenshot that just to make sure we're we know where they start. Now, the objectives for today is, as I said, not only are we helping you lower your affective filter, getting comfortable with teaching computer science, but more so like when you get back to your classrooms in August is, are you going to be able to teach introductory computer science skills? Notice that we're teaching skills, not the high-level concept of programming. We're not teaching kids right away how to write codes, but you're teaching them the skills of critical thinking, collaboration, communication, logic, persistence, problem solving. And you will have a chance to be in the students' shoes today by performing all of this. You're going to work independently with a partner or as a group to see how you can apply these 21st century skills in solving all of these puzzles online and offline today. I say online and offline because those are the two ways we will be learning today. The first one will be hands-on, unplugged activities, which is going to be from the book that you have. I will be modeling one lesson from the book in the morning, and then with the lens of instruction, not as a computer scientist or programmer, okay? And we will look at it, dissect that, if this is something that you will be able to bring to your classroom. And after lunchtime, actually before lunchtime, I will break you into small groups, maybe small groups of 3, and you will be assigned a simple lesson or activity from the book. You will have about 40 minutes planning time before lunchtime, and then you will have 1 hour lunchtime, but you can still plan if you want, but really it is an uninterrupted 1 hour lunchtime, so I discourage you from working. And then at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, you will be going to small groups or breakout rooms where you will be teaching that simple activity to your group. So basically, this big room right here, we're going to break you into 3 smaller groups. Each small group will further be broken down into 2 tiny subgroups. One subgroup from in that small group will be teaching a lesson to that other subgroup, and then switch, okay? I'll talk to you more about that. It sounds so complicated right now, but it's really easy. But the idea is you engage in what we call TLO, teacher, learner, observer. So I will model that first, and then you will do it, okay? So even doing this is really the idea is we're looking at it from the perspective of a teacher. Is this something we can do in the classroom? It's not from the perspective of the computer scientist or computer programmer, okay? So the other way we are going to learn is to actually dive into the courses themselves. You will have enough time to play with the puzzles, to understand what they're asking you to do, so that when you bring this back to your students, you actually have like a basic understanding of what you're doing. And then you will see the progression from the very basic all the way to the advanced. And later on, you can decide for yourself, depending on your students' skills and strengths, where do you want to start, okay? And then the agenda, after you're teaching this simple activity, I will actually walk you through creating student accounts and showing you how to share them to your students in August. Any questions about the objectives before we show you this video? Anyone familiar with this video? Okay, good, because this video is very important because they are the big tech companies that fund Codeorg in order for us to do this kind of work. Facebook just actually committed about $100 million or $50 million for the next 5 years to make sure that this kind of workshop is going to continue. You are at the very first, what is this, leg? Yes. This is the very first workshop for elementary school teachers in terms of computer science. We've never offered anything like this. So hopefully by doing this, we will also build what's next. How do we build from this? What is the next level in terms of bringing this in the classroom? But as a nod to all the people, the rich people who make this happen, I'm just gonna show you the video. take it with a grain of salt because some of them might not be applicable to you, certainly not for me and my context in South LA. So when I show this to my students, I just ask them, so do you want to have a chance to work in that environment? Then they decide for themselves later on. And my job is to make sure they have the skills before they even decide that, okay? So regardless if your students are going to become programmers or not, this is something that is fulfilling that common core, or that just the idea of teaching is we're teaching them not just to absorb everything, but just also to do it on their own, to think on their own. Any pre-K, kinder, early grades teachers here? Thumbs up if you are in the pre-K or lower grades, K, pre-K to 2.
We start with third. We start at third.
Oh, you started third. Okay. I didn't know that. Third, so you're all third through fifth? Through eight. Okay. So this is actually applicable also to as early as pre-K. But I'm saying that is just because technology affects every field. And imagine those pre-K students or kinder students when they graduate from college in what, 15, 20 years? We don't even know how the jobs that they're going to apply for are going to look like. Because what? Uber did not exist 3-4 years ago. Airbnb, never heard of that 2 years ago. But now it's the cool thing to do. So I went on vacation out of country, and I was able to survive through 3 things: Airbnb, Uber, and Google Translate, because I don't know how to speak French. And so I had to type in everything I needed to know and just show it to whoever I need to talk to.
Did Uber start in Germany and that's why it's called Uber? Because that's a...
No, because they actually don't have it in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have it in France?
Yes. In France, it's there. So it's not available everywhere, but just the idea of bringing in services and goods and products directly from the producer to the consumer, cutting that middleman. And that's what the girl was saying is the idea of helping humanity. It's not that we want everyone to be computer scientists, but how do we make life easier? How do we make life more efficient and the world a lot smaller? And all of this will not be possible without technology. And you've heard of the Google driverless car. I don't know if you'd want to ride that, but and you have Tesla, but now Apple is also trying to get into the automotive industry. And that's because they have that capability in terms of the technical and the computer part of it. So who knows what's going to be happening next year? Because just like Facebook, you probably have signed up for it, 10 years ago? But look how they continue to evolve. It doesn't just exist as a Facebook profile. Now they have different things. Facebook 360, Facebook Live, all of these sorts of things that they're not just there for you to post whatever it is you're doing, but also to collaborate, to communicate with people that you don't necessarily see or talk to all the time. But all of this has been made possible, and just like what the gentleman said, is mechanical skills, cognitive skills, those things that we used to be so proud of, the skills that we used to hold on to because they are the ones that make us qualified for the job. Guess what? Some of them may not even be appropriate anymore because a lot of jobs and tasks that are being performed in employment and fields of labor now or work, they're no longer routine manual tasks. They're no longer cognitive tasks. They're working with new information. How do you solve unstructured problems? And yes, they can be performed by robots, by automation, or by outsourcing. Okay? So, not that there's anything wrong with outsourcing because I was outsourced from the Philippines 14 years ago. I'm one of you now. I have a green card, so don't kick me out. But the idea is we're doing all of that. We're outsourcing. We're using robots and automation and all these things because the reality is our students graduate without the skill to actually perform these computing jobs. And in fact, only 2% of AP classes are in computer science. But if you go outside the schools, the jobs out there, 60%, yes. 60% of jobs involve computer science. So where do we get the manpower, the skilled manpower to fulfill this demand? And that demand equals to $500 billion opportunity in 4 years. So that's why all these big tech companies, Facebook, Dropbox, YouTube, that's why you saw them in the video, is because where are they getting their employees, their skilled employees, if we don't produce them here in the US? So that is our task, is how do we get our kids to at least have an opportunity to be part of this? We don't just want them to become rich, to invent the next Facebook or YouTube or whatever is going to be the next big thing in the next few years, but more so is just the idea of equity. So a lot of our students a lot of people who are in the field of computer science are still very much white and male, and our students of color only comprise 8% of that, and women 15% of that 8%. So there is the big debate about what is our job bringing this to public schools or just schools in general, K-12 schools. It's not so much about making you the expert in computer science, but making you be that avenue to provide all students the opportunity to code and to make decisions for themselves later on when they can, that, yeah, I can apply for that job because I was taught the skills and knowledge and competencies as early as pre-K, and I have the knowledge to do that, not just because I am a student of color, but I can actually do the job. So these are some of the data that I would like to post out there as you have fun coding, playing Angry Birds today, pair programming with your friends and peers right now. Think about, why is this job, is this advocacy program really important? And why is Codeorg investing so much money in bringing this? Why are you getting all of this for free? And what is next for all of us? So, but the vision is that every school, every child has the opportunity to at least learn the basics of coding. So anyone familiar with Codeorg? You've all visited the website, right? So we are basically just a nonprofit dedicated to bringing computer science to every school and increasing participation. That is the main objective of the organization, is increasing participation of students, underrepresented students of color. And we will have an opportunity to kind of discuss and talk about what is your context here in South Kern. Who are the students who come to your school day in and out? And is this something that they already have? Or is this something that is actually really appropriate and important for us to begin rolling out there? So we have produced more than hundreds of hours of online curriculum in 100,000 schools, not just in the US, but all of these puzzles you're about to see or you've been working on, they're available internationally. So during the Hour of Code, all of these are being used in as far as Syria, where there's war and everything. During the Hour of Code, you'll be surprised and amazed that there were actually groups of people who advocate for like an Hour of Code event at some refugee camp or something like that. And I myself, I go home to the Philippines every year in December, and I actually do my best to kind of like provide just a basic whatever I do with you to teach teachers how to do this, like condense that in a 2-hour PD, but more hands-on. So once you finish and you've done all of this, is you are free to kind of just let other people know about it. It's out there available to everyone, anywhere, as long as you don't charge them. It's free. You can use them for an after school, a community Saturday code club, or things like that. And the only caveat is you offer them for free. And we are partners with the largest school districts in the US, LA Unified being the first one, but we still have not actually implemented this district-wide. So it's much better to implement this in like smaller districts where you know the impact that you're making, and you're able to bring in all teachers for a Saturday or a summer workshop like this. And we are the organizer of the Hour of Code campaign. These are the things that you will receive. You have today your bags. So if you actually want to take a look at your bags to make sure you have all of these. You have a water bottle. If it's damaged, let me know and I'll replace them. There should be a pen inside. Do not put your water bottle in the dishwasher because they melt. I tried it. And you also have a notebook or a journal. That notebook, if you go to the Codeorg store, there's a store where you can buy different things that you can give to your students or your co-workers. But that notebook itself, use that because that's worth $10, right? Clipboard is also there. It's nice to just use it, walk around this classroom. And then those stickers, I have them right here. I'll be distributing them as you play the puzzles. Those who are actively participating as a reward, you will get more stickers. Okay? So make sure when I ask volunteers, just be gladly participating and volunteering yourself. The book, instructor handbook, is where you see all the lesson plans for courses 1 to 3. Available online now is course number 4. The books that I received, because course number 4 has been approved just recently, so we do not have a book for them yet. But you can find the lessons and the copies online, and I'll show you how that look like online. After today, when I close the workshop, you will also receive a certificate of completion for showing up for the 6-hour workshop. And it can count towards professional growth, professional development hours. Hold on to them because once this becomes a district-wide PD, then you can just say, oh, I don't have to go. I have already gone to a workshop a year or 2 years ago. But we do have your records also. These 2 here are the free classroom supplies that you can request after you receive an email from Codeorg. You will get more instruction about that. And you can choose to use this for course 1, I believe, or course 2. I think you can only choose one, so don't be greedy. But other than that, once you already are signed in with Codeorg, all updates, if we have brand new courses and brand new products, then we will let you know through email. Okay? And these are some of the guiding questions because we're about to jump into the actual content. I want you to take this into consideration as, again, you have fun and collaborate with your peers. So we will circle back with them in the afternoon. The question, first one is it important to address the imbalance of who is represented in computer science? What are some of the concrete steps you are going to take to address this imbalance? And what, more importantly, is what are the challenges that you really face? We start the school year in August. Do we have the same schedule?
July.
Oh, wow. Next week? Okay, I still have 3 weeks. But all I'm saying is now that you're in that fresh start is where do you find the time to incorporate this in your schedules? Because we have challenges in terms of computer access, internet or Wi-Fi access. But more importantly is with the thousands of things you're doing in the classroom every day is where do you actually find the time to do this? So think about that. I will give you some time to kind of have some planning time and brainstorming. Now, because you're any administrators in the house other than the 2? Okay. Your administrators, your principals, assistant principals, whoever they are, will be coming into your classroom and they'll be like, why are your kids playing Angry Birds? Right? So all you got to say is, oh, don't worry, it's standard space. So I'll show you a way to find the standards. And then they're not available in the book, so we're going to go online. You can follow along as I go and show you online, or you can just watch, okay? So I'm going to get out of this PowerPoint to show you the standards. These are just the ISTE standards. Who here has gone to the ISTE conference in Colorado, I believe? Was it last month? So that's like a big technology convention once a year where all the big people go in terms of instructional technology. You don't have to know all of that, but just know that it is connected to that. What's more important for you are the instructional standards that are Common Core aligned. So I am on the Codeorg website, and I go to my name, Hi Dominic, and go to Teacher homepage. If I click the first one, I'm going to zoom out. These are the 6 boxes that are very important. Actually, the first 2 are the more important ones. You can find the standards by going to the lesson plans and resources. So, yay! Lesson plans and resources is where you find all the lessons, the online copies of whatever is in the book. So I'm going to click on that and go back up. So here is where you are. You are 3rd through 5th. So you're somewhere in the middle of this and the middle school, right? But if you still want to use the K5 for your 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, that's fine. Okay? But let's just show you course 1. If I just want to see the standards for course 1, I can just click standards. But the only thing is it looks like this. It's all spelled out as if it's just a document of all the standards you can find in technology, in computer science, in next generation science. So you can look at it that way, because if you open your book on page 13, I will actually be doing some sort of blended learning. So I invite you to also look at your books, page 13, 1-3. I believe that's the right page. Yeah, so the first lesson is called what? Happy Maps. And find here, the first one is Happy Maps. So you can find all the standards that are attached to that first lesson. See how simple this lesson is in the book, but see how many standards are attached to that. You don't have to write all these standards. Pick and choose which one works. I am not going to rotate this because I'll show you an easier way of looking at this, okay? So I'll go back to here, and I go to course 1, lesson 1. Lesson plan, sorry. And then now I have Happy Maps. If I click Happy Maps, teacher, make sure to click teacher, not PDF. Now I have the exact lesson plan, except they are more interactive, and it includes the standards. If I scroll all the way down, I actually find those same standards in the standards document, and they are here. Connections and background information. As I said, they start with technology standards, computer science standards, and now you have the Common Core math practices and the instructional standards. So in essence, most of them will just include like ELA standard. It's just the idea of speaking and listening. How do you get the kids to play these arrow games? By talking to each other. That's still a 21st century learning skill. So, so pick and choose which one works for you. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but know that in each lesson there are standards available for you to pick, so you can write them in your lesson plan books, your bulletin boards, or however your administrators require you to document them. Okay? Before I get to the cool part about this, I also want to go back to my PowerPoint, and first let's look at them. Get some Post-its, because we will be tabbing your books. Let's tab page 11 for course 1. We will tab them right now, and then I'll show you the online version. Page 11 is where you will see those same lessons, just like Happy Maps was the first one. If you go to page 11 in your book, it looks like this, right? Notice that it has the lesson name, Happy Maps. When it is in bold, just like Happy Maps, Move It, and Real Life Algorithms, that means they have a video online that you can show your kids. If you do not have the time next week to teach Happy Maps right away, you have an option to go online and find that video for Happy Maps, and then they can start doing the puzzles that are related to Happy Maps. I'll show you all of that so it's easier for you to understand. But also there's a lesson description, okay? We will get back to reading the description because you will actually have a chance to play these same Course 1 puzzles. Next, get another Post-it and tab course number 2 on page 88. When you see that it says for early readers, ages 4 to 6, ignore that, okay? You know your students. If you feel like I want to start this new school year with Course 1, especially that all my students have not done any of this, that's fine. Start with Course 1. But if your kids have already done a lot of this last year, then you might want to just jump to Course 2 or 3. But it's really up to you. We do not have a pacing plan. We do not have an instructional calendar that by this and that date you should have finished all of this. No, these are all self-paced, both on your part as a teacher and your students. Okay? Next one, course number 3, is on page 175. Give me a thumbs up if you finished tabbing all 3 courses. Okay, I'm going to show you the entire PDF document online that's going to show you that online version of this, okay? So I'm going to go back on Safari. So right here, I told you the book that you received today are the old versions, so you don't have Course 4, but you can always go to Course 4 down here, and you see the same lesson plans. If you want to look at it course by course, you just click them here. But if you want to look at it as a whole, click Download Complete Curriculum for Courses 1 through 4. And so you can see all of them, the online version of the book. But you don't have to print them out, so same thing that you're receiving, except it has course number 4. Okay? Now, the more fun way to actually look at how your books look like online is to go to the Code Studio. So the Code Studio is the second line after I say, hi, my name, hi, Dominic, we went to teacher homepage. You can go to Code Studio. That's where you see all the puzzles by course and by level. And so now you see Course 4, Course 2, Course 1. These are the things that I've been working on. But I want to scroll down to 20-hour courses for computer science fundamentals. And so now you tab course number 1, right? I'm going to click Course 1 to see how that looks like. So, and in your part, go back to page 11. Do you see similarity of how that looks like online and offline? Right? Okay. So, the good thing about this also is don't play anything yet, because as I said, there is a prize for whoever has the highest level by the end of lunch, before lunch. So stage 1, Happy Maps, has 2 puzzles that your kids will be playing. Those are the circles. If you don't have a circle yet, that means you haven't played that. That's okay. But what I want to show you more are the lessons on the left side, stage 1 all the way to stage 18. So these are designed in a way that you start with the very basic. Well, just like the same thing with knowledge to analysis and evaluation, or the depth of knowledge from level 1 thinking to all the way to extended or strategic thinking. It's the same way. So the very first stages, your kids will just be like, oh, which one is the arrow left? Which one is the arrow right? Those are important because it is going to get advanced from there. When they get to stage 18, they have what we call the play lab. The play lab is kind of like the application. It's so simple, but the idea is now that they were able to drag or pick left or right arrow or north, east, southwest. Now, can they actually manipulate an object? For example, can they move a dog to a cat? And when they move that dog is going to say hello or something. So it's very simple, but the idea is now they're applying what they've been learning from stage 1 all the way to 15. Also, in these courses, you will find, normally it's the second to the last stage or lesson. These are digital citizenship lessons. Anyone familiar with Common Sense Media? Or digital citizenship and being safe and responsible online? So the idea is we partnered with Common Sense Media, and they basically have a full-blown curriculum on how to get your kids to take care of their passwords, to avoid cyberbullying. It's a full-blown curriculum that covers all these topics. But Codeorg only has 1 lesson in each course. So if you want to take a look at those courses, I'm going to send you a link to Common Sense Media also, because that is really important for you to also be teaching your kids, is how to be safe and responsible and respectful online. So that's the second one, and then the last one is just kind of like the beginning of the next course. I'm going to click stage 1 and go to page 13 on your book, in your book. So aside from online, you find the standards. Online is also very helpful, because if I do not know how to teach this lesson, and I'm saying this to you now because you can do this trick when you do your planning for your assigned activity or lesson, is if I don't know how to teach this, I can always go to teaching guide, and under for the teacher there is a lesson video. It's not a demo lesson, but it's more about the person who designed the course talking to you about what this lesson is all about. So I'm just going to click and play a little bit of it, just so you have an idea that in any lesson that you will see on the Codeorg platform, if you don't know how to teach them, you can always find information about them on lesson video.
Hi, Kiki here, and we are about to start at the very beginning of the task. We just want to get that idea of.
So I'm not going to finish all of that. You're not teaching that lesson anyway, because it's very simple. But the idea is before you break for lunch, you will know which lesson you're going to be teaching in your subgroups. And I will also push on todaysmeet.com a link to the videos for that lesson you're going to plan for and teach after lunch. Okay? So don't worry too much about it. But now I want to show you more what they look like. Okay? So here, as I told you, is in your books on page 11. If it's in bold, that means there's a video that you can show the kids if you don't have the time to actually teach this. So I'm going to show you quickly what this lesson looks like in real life.
Create your algorithm by gluing arrows next to the math that you're trying to solve.
And the second one, it's the same, but it's going down.
It's like programming with paper.
And that's it.
So I know I told you you don't have to teach all of this. There's no pacing plan and all of that. But for me, if I really want to start this next week, if I start next week, I will teach this to the entire group, right? And I'll make copies of this. It's in the book. And what I'm going to do is now everyone knows what this Happy Maps puzzle looks like. But I am doing that because I want them to be able to use this again in the future. Let's say in 1 month, I'm going to have independent work time or centers, and I want some kids to be coding online, but I also want a few kids to be coding offline. And if they already know how to play this, then they can choose this from the centers or stations. I can put this in a Ziploc and be part of their choices for doing offline coding. So that's just me, okay? But we're open to however you're going to do that.